Hey, what's up, guys? A gentleman asked me to do a video on bait casting versus spinning. I'll post this question on screen right now, but the question was, when do I use bait casting versus spin? And the easy answer is when you got big bulky lures, spinner baits, big crankbaits, things like that, you definitely want to be using a bait caster. And the reason why is because when you have a bait caster, all the line spools off this way, and it's all done by the weight of the lure. So when you cast this thing out, the lure is actually pulling the line off the spool. So if you have a super light lure, it's not really going to either cast very far, or it's not going to come off at all. And that also depends on how tight you have your brakes, right? The looser you have your brakes, the easier the spool spins, and the further you can cast. It also ends up with bird's nests, unfortunately. And I'm sorry, I see a big log here. I got to cast to that. So remembering that, this is obviously my interpretation and what I've learned over time. That's the main reason why I'd pick a bait caster over a spinning reel. Also, if you need to heave things out of heavy cover, or if you're just fishing for big fish, for an example, if you're fishing for pike, you probably don't want to use spinning gear. Those things like to fight. So that's my take on why I'd use a bait caster. Now the spinning, let's take a look at that real quick. So spinning, as you can see, this is a small reel, and I'm using this for my drop shot. And the reason why you would use this for something a little bit more finesse or a little smaller baits or weightless baits, for an example, is because you're going to be using just light line, light weights, and so you want that to come off the reel super, super easy. And the main difference between a bait caster and a spin is the way the line comes off. And you can see here, when you open the bail, that line spools off just like this. You almost don't even need anything. It'll come off by itself sometimes. So that will get your cast super, super far. And you can use super, super light weights. It's usually used for, like I say, finesse or just smaller baits. This one here is an Ardent Finesse 3000 and is one of my favorite spinning reels. I would actually highly recommend you guys pick one up. Super, super smooth drag. It's just perfect. For the bait caster, I have a couple that I like to use. The first one is, this is an Apex tournament, and it's a 6.5 to 1 reel, and I use this for, spinner baits, crankbaits, things like that. The other one that I use, you guys have seen it before, is the Ardent Apex Grand. That's the one I'm always bragging about, and that's because it's a super fast reel. I don't like to fish slow. Most of the time, that's the only time I can catch fish, but it's super, super fast. It's like a 7 to 1 or something. And that's good for, if you're flipping into cover and you need to heave that fish out real fast, or you're just burning something, burning a spinner bait, burning crankbait, whatever. And that's it. So, I hope that helps you guys. If you have any questions, leave them below. Hopefully I answered your question. Yeah. See ya.